Alright, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to start with jQuery and basically how you select elements on the page, right? Alright. So first, we need an HTML page which we can work on, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new folder by the name of jQuery intro, right? And that will be in the main course material, right? And where's that? Here it is, right? So inside, I'll have a file named jQuery demo.html, right? Alright, and in this, so I'll first get my standard template. Right, and in here I'll add my h1, which says jQuery demo, and the title will also be jQuery demo, right? However, if I open this page up right now, right? So I actually don't have jQuery here, and the reason behind that is jQuery is not a separate language like JavaScript, and it's a library, right? So as a library, if you remember, you always had to include Bootstrap in your document. Similarly, you will have to include jQuery in your document, right? So how do you do that? If you go to the original jQuery.com and you press on download, this one, right? And so now you can see there are the latest version is always up here, right? And we have a lot of things here. First is this. Again, just like Bootstrap, there will be multiple ways to do this. First is, by actually downloading the jQuery file, right? Which will be download the compressed production jQuery or uncompressed development jQuery. This is basically resembling to bootstrap.css, right? I mean, if you try to draw an analogy, and this is similar to bootstrap.main.css, right? So let's just download this one. And you see that this is just a JavaScript file, right? And there are just lots and lots of functions there, and I can keep going, right? So we'll now save this folder and you save this, right? Alright, so now if I see in this side inside this folder, I have a new file called jQuery 3.5.1.js. And now to use that, we'll have to link that to our file, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a script tag because this is also a JavaScript file, right? So I'll do source, and that should be exactly matching to this. So that's jQuery 3.5.1.js. I hope this is correctly spelled anyway. So now if we go here and refresh, we don't see any change as for now. We don't see any change as for now, and that is because we haven't actually done anything, of course, right? But what we can do is we can go to the console, and if I type jQuery here, this should return something, right? A function, because what basically jQuery is a function, right? All right, so now we have this working, means you have jQuery correctly set up. And now before we start, let's see our second way, which is basically CDN, right? So what you can do for that is you can just go to Google, you can search for jQuery CDN, and you'll get this one link. You can copy any one of them. And this is basically the same thing. You could just have copied that itself, right? And what we're going to do is instead of this, we'll paste this, right? And now if this is refreshed automatically, then Again I type jQuery and again I get something, meaning my jQuery is correctly installed, right? Alright, so now we have seen our jQuery is installed. Now we can start doing that. And of course, just like the normal JavaScript, this jQuery follows a specific selection then modification procedure, right? And first we're going to see the selection, of course. So how you can select elements are, for that I'll put some more elements on the page. Let's say I put a UL inside which I put an li saying banana, then I add another li saying apple, then I add another li saying pear, right? And this plus this will have a class of optional. If you remember, we had this similar kind of thing in an exercise too, and this is also optional. And this banana will have an ID of yellow, right? All right. So now we have our banana, apple, and pear li, which is not really complex. And what we can do is inside this pear, we can give an a tag with an href of www.com, which is some random site, I don't know, right? And here we can say random link, right? And now after this UL, I can put another a tag saying href of www.com again, and this time I'll say another random link. Very innovative, right? So now we see that this has shown up here on refreshing, right? So alright, now we can start using jQuery. jQuery is installed and we can start selecting, right? So basically in jQuery everything is made simple, right? And hence you have a single selector for all the types, right? If you think about raw JavaScript, the 5 types of selectors we had seen were get element by ID, get element by class name, get elements by tag name, and then we had the query selector, and then we had the query selector all, right? Now if you think about it, this single query selector all can perform the job of all of these at once, right? So this is actually the most powerful selector in all of the selectors that we have studied until now, and in overall JavaScript too, because you can select anything on the whole page with this. You can give this like complex CSS selectors like li, a, and even complex things like that, and it works. So query selector all can be used to select anything on the whole page, and that is why jQuery has a selector which is basically a replacement for query selector all, and you can use that selector for anything on the whole page. What that is actually this dollar sign, right? So if I do this right now, I see I'm getting, this is some function, right? So dollar is the main jQuery function, right? And this is like really similar to if I write console.log but without the brackets, I get a function back, right? Then similarly, dollar is a function, and dollar is the main selector inside all of this, right? And dollar is basically the thing that will be used to select. Now inside this, you put quotes and you can give anything, right? First, let's see this elements by tag name. What if you want to get elements by tag name? You can simply give the tag name inside dollar, and you get this h1 right here, right? And this is actually by query selector all, so this is returned as a list. What you can do is you can get it 0th index, and you see this is the h1 we were talking about, right? Or you could also get, let's say, the LIs, right? And you get the LIs back, so means this is working too. That if we see here, there are 3 LIs and they have been selected in something which we could take, like we could do where li is equal to document, this dollar li, and that would work. So this is basically how you can select anything in whole of jQuery, right? So now let's see the get element by ID thing. And inside this, just like the query selector, you will give the CSS selectors. Like if you're selecting an ID, you will give the hash. And if you remember, we gave the ID of yellow to this banana thing, right? And if I do that, I get a list again. So to get the single element out of that, I'll get the 0th index. And you see I get the banana thing here. You could also select the class by doing dot optional, right? And you can see this is an array with two things. First is this, and second is this, which we needed. And you could select like complex things. Let's say I select A tags, then I would get everything, right? You can see I get a node list of two things, like a function of, yeah, I get a length of 2, right? Because of these two tags. And what I can do is I can do lia, meaning that only I want only the anchor tags that are inside of li tags, and that just returns me one thing, which is this A tag right here, right? So I can see complex selectors work too. So basically, this $selector is a substitute for query selector all, and it's obviously much easier to write. Instead of writing document.query selector all and then brackets, you can just simply write dollar brackets then the thing you want, right? And then you can do a lot of things. This also has a lot of functions inside of it, if you see here, right? And if you see inside this, there are a lot of properties again. So you can change anything through this too, right? That's easy, super easy. And there are ways of changing this through jQuery too, which we will start with in the next video, right? So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.